Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, that was me, I think. There it is.
Oh,
Who's watching the credits? You, Joe?
I'm not.
Oh,
I just stopped the credits.
me too.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, nice to see
Hey,
you,
Bob.
Good. How are you?
John. Another good viewing.
Thank you.
Yes.
I enjoyed it more the second time.
That's awesome. That's good
Yeah.
to hear. I feel like it's in the pantheon with the Thor Ragnarok.
We've talked about how we've seen it so many times. It's hard for us to be like partial to it anymore.
Yeah. I can finally sit back and just enjoy it without picking it apart, which I think is a good sign.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit start on this webinar, which means everyone can see us, I think, and start chatting.
Everybody will be muted?
Yes, they'll chat via text. Yeah.
All right.
Theoretically. All right, let's see.
Excuse me.
So I figure once we get started, we'll just do quick intros, because me and Joe need them, and then I'll just kind of lay out the agenda. I guess what we should probably just talk a little bit about our experiences, and then open it up maybe for questions.
Yeah.
Let's get it kind of warmed up. Where's the chat option? There
Your
it is.
party.
There we go. Ahoy! All right, we got people jumping in, so that's great. Cool.
Ooh, 20.
Oh wow. Yeah, it seemed like a pretty good turnout for the YouTube premiere.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
Oh, the participants are going up.
Hello, can everyone see us and hear us? Josh? Awesome.
Cool.
Very cool. I guess we wait a couple minutes for everybody again, the obligatory that. But we could start with intros, maybe. I'm Josh Noftz, one of the co-writer and directors of the episode that you may have just watched.
And I'm Joe Bariso, also a co-writer and co-director of the episode you just watched.
And I'm Bob Budiansky. I created Sleepwalker and most of the characters you saw in that movie about 30 years ago. And here they are today.
Yes. Yeah, and I was an original reader of those, which obviously stuck with me. Maybe. So, there's a lot of background sound from somewhere. Huh, I'm not picking up on that.
I'll
Anybody
mute
else?
my...
Did that fix it? I'll mute myself. Where do I do that? There.
I don't know.
Did either of those? I'm not picking up it. So okay.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like some people, most people are good. All right. I guess we'll just talk real quick, briefly about our experience making it, and Bob can talk about his experience watching it and whatever else, making Sleepwalker all those years ago. And then we'll get into Q&As. And if you guys can help me, maybe keep an eye on questions, because
Yep.
Cool. I mean, honestly, I feel like I've said it so much, but it's just been a super pleasure for me. Sleepwalker's always stuck with me, other than Spider-Man, been like one of my favorite comics and heroes of all time. I just love how earnest Sleepwalker is, but yet he's misunderstood. So I think that stuck with us. And Joe and I really got this idea when we saw Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and we thought, wow, what a awesome movie with a bunch of heroes that no one's heard of. And I said, I think I know a hero that deserves more recognition and more eyes on him. And we just started talking about Sleepwalker and kind of looking at comics and writing ideas, and really fell in love with it all over again, and just kept going from there.
And it was like such a ride to this point too, because when we initially started writing it, we wrote it as like a feature, and then we moved to like, okay, well maybe we should just do a trailer, and then eventually we were like, you know what, we're just going to do an episode of TV.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And yeah, originally we were going to do a trailer, which you probably have seen, has a lot of footage in it that isn't in the episode. And,
yeah,
and we were going to do a Kickstarter with that trailer. And then we just kind of scrapped that and said, let's just go for it.
yeah,
But yeah. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the evolution of it. But, yeah, Bob, what's your thoughts on everything?
Well, I'm very flattered that you and Joe put all this time and effort and assembled this great crew to put this movie together based on something I created a long time ago. So, thank you guys for all the work. And I thought it came out really, really good, really impressive, really enjoyed it. And I don't really have much more to add. I would rather respond to any questions that have been directed at me than blab about myself. So
Absolutely.
if anybody cares, but I mean, really, it's about your movie. I mean, that's what I think most people are here for.
yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, we really couldn't have done it without you. Honestly, when you first got in contact with Josh, that was kind of the first real like kick in the butt for us to be like, okay, now this is like becoming like an actual like thing, and we really started putting ourselves to the ground and working on it.
Well, now you make it sound like it was my idea because
I know. I think I got in touch with
work
Bob.
that way.
Oh no, yeah, but
Yeah. When we
I
first
think
made,
you called me out of the ether somehow. I forget how. And I said, okay, well, if you want to go ahead, it's up to you. It's not up to me.
yeah, and then you said, I'm going to be at a Comic-Con in Baltimore in like 3 days, and I said, me and Joe are getting in the car and coming up.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. You drove all the way up from Tampa to Baltimore just to have lunch with me, as I recall.
Yeah.
That was great.
And that was my investment in your movie, by the way. I think we went out for like a 2-hour lunch. And during those 2 hours, I could have been making hundreds of dollars doing sketches back at the convention.
Right.
Oh.
I think
that was my investment into this movie.
That was the kick in the butt Joe was talking about.
Yeah.
Guys. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the crew, Bob, because really we had a massive crew and cast of some of the most talented people from the Tampa area. Everyone was local. Some have moved away since, but super, super talented. Everyone did it out of the kindness of their heart, the passion, and they believed in the project. So thanks to everyone.
Honestly, we really couldn't have done it without our crew. They were what really made this happen, like.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was such a good experience, everybody just getting together and having a blast, making it happen. So with all that being said, definitely we should just jump into questions. If anybody has any questions for Bob or Joe or myself.
There's a couple in the Q&A column on the
awesome.
Yeah.
I think you're more tech savvy than me. There's a separate column.
Yeah.
For
So
Q&A.
our first question is, first off, how was the process creating this awesome adaptation? From Jermaine Magwood.
You want to kick it off, Joe?
Sure.
What was your process?
Well, for me, it was interesting because I had heard of the character before, but I never really read anything about him. So from there, it kind of been like finding the comics and reading them, which was good because Josh had them all. And then we were just kind of like talking about that. We were throwing back villains back and forth for what we wanted to do the first episode. Because initially we were talking about doing Psycho or some like tying with Cobweb or various other Sleepwalker bad guys before we decided that the best was probably 8-Ball, simply because he's the most recognizable and he was on the first issue and he just has a general like more grounded approach as a character to most of Sleepwalker's villains that kind of like give Sleepwalker that separation from him.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 8-Ball, he's grounded, so it kind of ties the story down, and also it's much easier to execute than, say, a fully CG Cobweb, which we really tossed around the idea and wanted to do, but not yet.
Yeah, and from there, just we wrote how we would want to like make these characters in like a modern setting and then live action.
Yes. Yeah, we thought we could have a lot of fun with 8-Ball. the character's fun. He's kind of, snarky, and we like that. And
that's a
kinda,
good counter to how serious Sleepwalker
yes,
is as a
yeah,
character.
yes. We just couldn't get the flying pool rack. Yeah, that's when he upgrades.
We also wanted to do a thing where he would like pole with the stick, but just could not make that work.
But yeah, the process has been a long one. If that was kind of the question, we just kind of started writing and then snowballed. I had a friend come down and do a quick costume test, and we were like, well, if this looks really silly, it's not going to work. And it looked awesome. And every step of the way, there was kind of these things, if the cue stick didn't quite work or look right, it would have been troublesome. So, but we were just lucky enough that every kind of step of the way, things were looking good and going well, and we just kept going and kept going.
Yeah.
First off, how is that was the same one. When is the next one? So cool.
We'll have information for you soon.
Yeah, we'd love to do more. But obviously a lot of people know if they were involved or whatnot, this was a very long process, longer than we ever anticipated.
Yes.
And that was due to everyone kind of doing it for nothing. And we're, shooting on weekends here and there. We'd love to do another one, but we really want to do it right. So people aren't, 50 years old playing college students.
I mean, that would be fun in its own way. But
the same year, still graduating. So we got to figure out a way to shoot it all together, and we're hoping to do maybe a Kickstarter. So if people are interested, and everything works out, we'd love to kind of crowdfund more episodes for sure. For Bob, where did Sleepwalker come from? How did the character initially begin?
Okay, good question. So it originally began at an editorial meeting that I attended at Marvel Comics around 1985. So I was a longtime Marvel editor as well as a writer and an artist. And we used to have weekly editorial meetings with editor-in-chief at the time, that was Jim Shooter. And he would bring up different topics for discussion. And somewhere along the line, he threw out this idea. He said, if Superman really existed in our world, rather than all of us accepting him as a hero, here to protect us, the nations of the world would gather together and figure out a way to stop him, because he's actually an alien from another planet with this, immense power that he could use against us. So the point he was making was, we just happen to accept him because he's this all-American looking stereotype hero character, and that makes him good. So it got me to thinking after that meeting, well, what if we had an alien hero who did not look like some all-American stereotype, but instead looked like a bug-eyed monster? How would we Earthlings, we humans, respond to a character like that? And that was the beginning of the genesis of what led me to create Sleepwalker, to come up with that kind of a hero who on the surface might not appeal to our human prejudices, but was really as heroic as anybody who might come along in the comic book superhero genre. And that's what led to it. There you go.
Joe, can you grab and see what that next question is?
Yep. So, working with a limited budget without the power of Disney Studios behind you, what was the most complicated special effects to get right? Honestly, Josh has a better answer for this, but the longest special effect that I can remember that we had to work on was Sleepwalker himself, because initially we wanted to do him completely CG. And just over time, we just kind of came to the conclusion that just wasn't feasible. So working from that CG and then changing it to a practical, actual makeup effect was a pretty interesting process that we had to go through, because we had this amazing 3D model that we were using for the longest time, and we just couldn't get it to work right.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, beautiful CG model. We were going to do all CG head, like Joe said, and we did a couple shots. They look great. We just realized it would have been even more time consuming to go that route. So we found We found out, and we really, honestly, the main catalyst I think was we wanted the actor. The actor has been so gracious.
Yes.
We really wanted his performance and everything to come through as much as possible. So we went the Voldemort route and just took the nose, took a little off the front.
Beautiful VFX done by our Carl Huber, local
special effect. It's not VFX. Yeah.
Yeah, special effects.
The makeup. Yeah, good call.
Yep.
Yeah, Carl did all the practical effects for the makeup and everything. Lindsay Stearns on the costume.
Mm-hmm.
And even, I mean, it's been so crazy because it's been, just talking to people from all over the place. Like my old college student helped me design the concept for 8Ball's armor. And, in the comics, it's just kind of a typical, traditional, I should say, superhero spandex suit with a big 8-ball head. And we were really trying to kind of find a way to bring that into reality. And we love the 8-ball costume. We wanted to have like an homage to it at some kind of event, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Having him in the old suit. But.
Do you have any other big VFX stuff that was like hard for you, like kind of after that, or?
The most complicated, the nose was definitely tricky, especially when Sleepwalker kind of turns. When he's looking straight ahead, it's fairly simple, but when he's turning, it gets a little tricky. It was, I had a couple friends help me with a couple shots, but for the most part, it was just me in my dungeon cranking away. And you just finding, not smart, but, practical ways to handle it. And it all comes around to like shooting it, where I really kind of knew how I was going to handle it in post on the set, which helped a lot. Being a VFX artist, I could say, let's shoot it like this. So I can pull this off, in post. And I mean, we had Joe out there, like when Sleepwalker hits the big dumpster, Joe and somebody were like rocking the dumpster. So we get that nice impact. You got to paint them out and all that. So just little kind of practical mixed with visual was the way to execute it.
Yeah. That also was the 8-ball stick too. A lot of people think that that's completely VFX, but it's actually practical light inside with a little bit of a boost from Josh.
Yeah. We had some awesome friends who do cosplay and stuff. They took a pool stick, cut out the pieces, ran an LED light in there. Just crazy. People all over the place doing little pieces and parts to bring it all together.
Yeah. This is a good one. What was each of our favorite moments in the show?
Ooh. Want to take that one first, Bob?
Oh, putting me on the spot. Favorite moment in the show. I liked the rippling effect you created with the street. That really stood out.
Cool.
As far as a special effect, as far as a special effect moment, there was lots of moments here and there that I thought were really cool that you made work really well. But that really captured the power of what Sleepwalker can do with his powers. So I appreciate that. I do want to point out that I by accident I've been looking at the Q&As and I answered somebody privately, and by doing that, he disappeared from the open question column and into the answered question column.
Oh.
And so his question is no longer there because he said, "Hi, Bob." So I said, "Hi, Kevin," back to him. And then he disappeared. So I want to know, you make people disappear if you answer them privately.
I see it. I'll ask that one next. I think that was next on the list anyway.
He's also related to me, I think. So.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I see a couple answers.
I jumped in about the favorite moments. I think it was to all of us, so you might want to. Question.
Josh.
Favorite moment in the show, man. I love when Alyssa throws the Godzilla line at Rick. It gets me every time, and I don't know. I mean, all the characters, like the writing, me and Joe tried to really make it. I don't know, snappy and fun, and the actors just really delivered, and so I love watching the actors say those little one-liners. All of them. Mr. Epstein, who's Carl Bradfield, the older guy. He's actually passed away, but he's just so fun to watch. So I have a lot, but I think the Godzilla line is mine, maybe.
I'm gonna follow Josh. Also from a similar scene. I love. This is ad lib from Chris, but there's a moment when he's leaving for work and he hits the bike on the way out. and he flashes the flashlight at Alyssa, and then he just goes very sternly, "Move that bike." And I don't know why that always makes me laugh.
Yes, it does.
It just very
Yeah, and it
funny.
was just an ad lib. Yeah, and we were like,
Yeah.
let's leave it in. Yeah. All right.
Outside of that, like, there's, like, so many moments that we had been writing for years that we wouldn't think were gonna happen that ended up in it. Like, I'm with Bob. I love the concrete wrinkle, because when we were first writing the initial like script and the ideas for it, like we were like, well, we have to put that in it because we've got to put an homage to that like cover because it's such a good, like, interesting cover. Exactly. Yeah. The hand coming up.
Rippling concrete.
Yes. Yeah, and we really wanted to do it more closely like that, but we quickly discovered we didn't quite have we didn't have the team yet.
You didn't have the special effects budget that we had for the comic book.
Yeah. I was cutting out the frame of the comic book and putting it in.
Just like taping it over the.
Yeah, we actually did a shot in a trailer a long time ago. We first shot the trailer where this concrete wrapped a guy up like that, and I was about halfway done with that shot when we decided to just shoot the full episode. But yeah, what do we got? I'm a reference. I'm a reference hunter. Wondering if when 8-Ball encounters the bikers, if the KMFDM reference is intentional. Also, is there a music credit for the Santo and Johnny Sleepwalker cover in the credits? Whoo! This is some deep cuts.
I can.
I'm not sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know of them, so I don't.
Yeah,
it's intentional.
I'm not sure what the KMFDM is. Are you?
It's a band. I just Googled it. So.
Oh, it's on the back of the jacket that.
Yes.
That's one of those things where we said everyone bring your leather to the shoot, and that was one of the jackets someone brought, and the guy who brought it, I remember Jesse. He was awesome. Tanner, a good friend, and that jacket was just so cool. We put it on our main character, and I'm not sure what the KMFDM reference is, but and then the Santo and Johnny also. In the credits. Oh, just is there a music credit? Yeah, I think in YouTube, I think there is a music credit. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
There's if there's not, we'll add one if that's what it is. Let's see. There's some questions on the right that aren't in the Q&As.
No, some of them brought them over.
Okay. I saw Colin Kojo, the original Sleepwalker fan club president, creator. He had a question here. Can you talk some of the scenes that you shot that didn't make it into the film? I actually don't think there are any.
Yeah, we had stuff we shot for the trailer.
Yeah.
That didn't really end up in anything, but that's about it. But even then, most of those got adapted in a way to the actual episode.
Yeah, either kind of reformatted for the episode. But yeah, we did shoot a couple things for a trailer, and they were more or less, actually the 8-Ball scene in the bar was for the trailer, but we shot that whole scene, and we were like, this actually works in the episode. So we took that whole scene and put it in the episode, which was really nice because we needed a scene, an action scene there with 8-Ball. Yeah. How to get Disney to see this? Sleepy is perfect for the MCU. I completely agree.
Yes.
And if
please,
I'm all ears.
Yeah. We'll join Disney Plus in a heartbeat. Don't.
I'll be best boy coffee getter on a Sleepwalker set. I don't care. Just let me be there and watch.
2021 is the 30th anniversary of Sleepwalker. For Bob, did you ever expect to see the character come to life in this way?
When I wrote it, I wasn't expecting it, but given what's been going on in the last 20 years of superhero movies, especially Marvel Studios since 2008, I expect just about anything to make its way into whether it's television or movies or some hybrid of those. These days it's more like a hybrid, I suppose. So I mean, at the time that I wrote it, no, I wasn't expecting it, but now you kind of anticipate that everything gets converted into live media. So why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I thought for sure. I was sitting there, I think in Infinity War when they went to Vormir, and spoilers for Infinity War, some guy comes out in a very tattered, cloaky, purplish, hooded cloak, and I literally put my hands on my head, and I was like, we were in the middle of making this, and I said, it's Sleepwalker. It's Sleepwalker. What a great place to use him in this Vormir, abstract world. It would be, I thought for sure it was him, and then it turned out to be the other no-nosed, different pigment skinned person in the MCU. But I was very relieved, but also very excited. I was like, is this Sleepwalker? I don't know if I'm upset or excited, But someone said, but I'm sure Sleepwalker. I'd be surprised if he didn't pop up in the next Doctor Strange, but we'll see.
Or something like he was teased at the end of Big Hero 6 because we got a lot of stuff when that happened.
I don't think he was teased. He just was in the background of a scene.
Yeah,
there was like a figure.
He's got like a costume of him.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Here's one. With this being episode 1 from Hunter, how many? I know Hunter. He was at the iHorror Fest, had a film in it. Awesome dude. With this being episode 1, how many more episodes are scripted out and or shot? Well, 0 are shot.
Zero shot.
Yeah.
We have plans for an entire season, and we have started writing the second episode.
Yeah. Well, there's just a script in progress for episode 2, and there's an outline for numerous episodes with kind of an arc and a season-ending finality. Yeah. So, that would be fun and time-consuming, but it would be awesome. Nothing makes me happier than working on this stuff. So, hope it can happen.
Was it hard finding your lead actors? Not really. We did a audition, and we had a lot of people come in. I think we had close to 60 people come in that day.
Yeah, it was crazy big turnout. That was one of the times where I also said, "Oh, better keep going on this."
Yeah. And just like with anything else, it's always just the people who kind of stand out the best for whatever role that we needed.
Yeah, there was a ton of talented people, but it was really just the people who kind of either already embodied what we thought that character felt like or nailed it. And it happens to be our lead, Chris. It was a good friend of Joe's.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, this is weird. He hiring your best friend and yet he's the best one for the job. I mean,
and it felt very much like a thing of being all right, this isn't like a nepotism thing.
He's actually the best
choice.
And he's a solid actor. He's
very good.
Hidden Figures. He was in with Kevin Costner and Octavia Spencer.
He was just on
don't forget Teenage Bounty Hunters.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was just on Teenage Bounty
Hunters. Yeah, watch it on Netflix right now. He's got a fun role in that.
I love that show.
Awesome. Oh. Yeah, did you see Chris in there?
Oh, several times.
Nice.
I sent him a message right away as soon as I saw him. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Teenage Bounty Hunters, Best of Enemies with Sam Rockwell, Justin Hammer, tie in there. So yeah, he's doing stuff, and he was awesome. And Lexi also came in, killed it. Yeah. Just felt like Alyssa. Their chemistry was amazing. The way they kind of go back and forth, and we wanted someone who could hang with Chris and give it back, give it as good as they got. So it was really fun.
I'm just gonna tie Stephanie Davis's question into this because it's kind of a similar thing. How did you approach casting these characters? Comic book characters are difficult to match up with. Was it difficult to find talent in Tampa area? So kind of just pulling back to that, it's always kind of hard to, especially when you're adapting media, to find actors for that, because it's not just we have to find, a good actor. It's also they have to match the look of that character too. They have to have a look that evokes that,
Right.
And that's why Chris and Lexi worked so well, is because they kind of matched that dynamic kind of immediately, just naturally.
Right. And same with Cotillo, who plays Sleepwalker. I mean, he's just the nicest guy in the world, and And he's like a huge Superman fan. So we're like, hey, you're basically, Marvel's Superman, just not as, as handsome. Here's one for, his awesome. We were wondering if we were going to replace Sleepwalker's voice with something more, I don't know, like we were thinking South African or something just different, worldly. And, but we loved it, his voice so much. We kept it going, and we're glad because people comment on it all the time. We love his voice. Here's one for Bob real quick. I love that you made 8 Ball's pool cue have a vibranium core. This is from Kojo. I was waiting to see if Sleepwalker's warp gaze could break it, Bob. Is Sleepy's gaze able to bend adamantium, vibranium, uranium? Like if Sleepwalker was to battle Thanos, could he bend the Infinity Gauntlet? Could he warp the stones?
Not uranium, it's uru, which is what Thor's hammer is made out of.
Oh, wow, look at me.
Yes, you gotta
failing my
those special Marvel metals or magic elements. Anyway, I didn't make vibranium. You guys did, so I don't know what to say. I didn't anticipate Sleepwalker coming up against a vibranium pool cue when I first created 8 Ball. So I really had no plans about how it would deal with it. I don't know. It's not something I ever explored when I was writing a comic book, so I don't really have a solid answer for you, Colin. If I ever get back to writing Sleepwalker someday, maybe I'll deal with those issues.
Let's hope. I'd love that.
I'm not going to make those decisions now in front of this panel.
Yeah, you're going to be on like Screen Rant tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, as a kid, I could tell you that I thought, that warp beam was the end all be all. Nothing could stand against it. If it was molecules, it would be moved.
Well, like, the Infinity Stones, for instance, are this, basic, fundamental substance that pre-existed most of reality. So, so I don't know if Sleepwalker exists in a different reality. So maybe he could affect it, maybe he can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Deep.
Cool.
Can you guys put some? Oh, that was me. Where do we add questions? There's a Q&A panel button down at the bottom. And you click that and it opens up a new window and you can drop them in there.
Bob, here's another question for you. In an era of major motion studios driving the Marvel and DC universe, what do you think about the role of fan fiction bringing it to the public?
All right, before I get to the answer, I think the person who's giving this question, his name is Ethan.
Yes.
I think this is my nephew, Ethan. Mm-hmm. Okay, Ethan Budiansky. And if it is my nephew, he has the honor or the notoriety of killing Transformers Optimus Prime in the Transformers comic book when I was writing it.
Oh.
He's the destroyer of Optimus Prime. He wears that badge with honor in real life. So I just want to give him a shout out, assuming that's my nephew. But anyway,
thanks, Ethan.
It's a great question about what do I think about the role of fan fiction to bring it to the public. I think it's wonderful that so many people like Joe and Josh put all this effort into bringing things that they love out of their own, blood, sweat, and tears, and putting it out there for everybody to share. I think it's wonderful. But on the other hand, I'm not the Marvel or the Disney legal department, so they may have a completely different perspective on this. But and that's any brand out there that people are making fan fiction out of. It all depends on the health of that particular enterprise. Really depends on the point of view of whoever owns the copyright or the trademark or whatever. It's like if they're willing to allow it, great. I think it's good for everybody as long as the people putting out the fan fiction do it with respect, not trying to tear it down or do something distorted with it. Mm-hmm. So really, it's a complicated world out there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're super glad you've been, very, here and excited about just watching it and being able to see it. So we really appreciate that, and it was really what, like Joe said, what kept us going. Jonathan says, Jonathan, amazing artist. He's doing like art for the WWE and stuff. So I'm going to give him a quick shout out. He says, talk about that flip kick. And that's the 8-ball flip kick. We did do some wire work for that. There's a lot of green screen in some of that, in that action scene. So we went out in the middle of the woods where this guy has a giant 3-story tower that we could throw a wire over and hook that one end up to a tractor and another up to a human. And we had an amazing stunt guy, actually 8-ball in most of the action scene, when you can't see his face, is played by a different actor than Hoon. He's played by a stuntman named CJ Padera, who lives in Atlanta now. Amazing stuntman, has been in shows at Disney and Universal and stuff. Just super cool dude. So he was 8-ball, and we shot a lot of those aerial stuff, shots on the green screen, on a wire, and in slow-mo. Or I think that might have been regular mo, he was just moving slow. I don't quite remember, but yeah, compositing, Sleepwalker here and 8-ball here and effects and all that fun stuff. But that was probably the most fun shot to work on, I'll be honest, because it was just, I knew what I knew what I hoped it would look like in the end. So every move on it felt fun. But hopefully that gave him what he was asking for.
Yeah.
Is there going to be an episode 2 from Noah Budiansky?
Another nephew of mine. Well, that's really for you guys to say. I mean, you've already talked about it. You'd like to do it, right?
Oh yeah, we would. Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. If we had to change one thing in the process, what would it be? By Blue Felu? I'm gonna mispronounce that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Blue Felu.
I don't know. That's hard. I mean, the obvious answer is to have an actual budget, and like the backing of a major studio. That would be nice.
Well, one thing we had control over maybe is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we learned a lot for sure.
Yes.
And if we did a second episode, there's a lot we would take into it. For one, a big thing I think about a lot is I wouldn't put Sleepwalker on wires anymore. First saw it was wasn't good for the suit. It was painful for the person, and it really didn't do us much. Especially, It's great how Sleepwalker kind of runs through the air. So I feel like we could execute that a lot simpler and get more bang for the scenario if we don't use wires. So that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Honestly, just being able to shoot it all within a more reasonable time frame. That's like the big thing.
Instead of over 2 years, right?
Yes. Maybe like condensing it down to like 1 or 2 weeks, probably 2 weeks, but that would be the biggest thing.
Yeah. And maybe some rehearsal time.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Bruce Zakarin says, or Zacharins, Bob, what was your inspiration to create this worldwide character? You've kind of answered that, but maybe there's more to elaborate there.
Okay, well, Bruce was a friend of mine. He's here in town.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
So anyway, I mentioned earlier, he's like the anti-Superman. My inspiration was to come up with somebody who was a hero who did not look like the all-American that you all automatically accept just because he looks like the stereotype of what we think an American hero should look like. So that was the initial inspiration. I can go into it a little bit further. Why is he Sleepwalker? Why does he inhabit this dimension of dreams? So back in the late 80s, I was just into dreams. I took a class in dream analysis, and I just liked the whole concept. I felt it was an unexplored area as far as Marvel Comics was concerned. Doctor Strange and characters like that touched on aspects of the mental plane, here and there, or other dimensions. But I felt that it was kind of new territory I could take over within the Sleepwalker comic book. So, and I also wanted to, even though he was this alien, rather monstrous-looking being, I also wanted to make him relatable, and to make him relatable, I had to attach him to a human character, which is Rick Sheridan. And so, I just came up with this whole concept of connecting them through Rick's mind while he was sleeping, and Sleepwalker would emerge, and then Rick would be tormented by the fact that he has this uncontrollable creature that emerges when he's basically unconscious. So put all that together, got Sleepwalker.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we would love to get more into the torment too. That's with future episodes for sure. It's in the outline.
Yeah, I want to see Rick. I want to see Rick sweat.
I know. I was still
haggard and having slept days and days.
Yes.
Well, we have plans for that.
You gotta up the volume on him a little.
Yeah, up the tension there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just Kramer level. That's where we're trying to get.
Okay.
And I know Chris can make it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I'm stressed. No, but real quick in the normal chat, Mark says, Bob, let me see if I find it. He said, tell Bob Mark from Brooklyn. No, it's not Brooklyn. Where?
Burbank.
I lost it. Burbank. Thank you.
Oh, Mark. Yeah. Hi. Hi, Mark.
Great job on your Sleepwalker pilot. Hope you didn't cover this already. Can you go into the funding for Sleepwalker and where you found your actors?
Oh, well, that's not me. That's you guys.
Yeah.
But hi, Mark.
So we talked. Maybe he heard us talk about the actors a little bit. We did a casting call. I think it's Say Marvel in the casting call really made it successful. We had a huge turnout. It was like 2 days of casting the main 4 characters, and then the funding. It all out of pocket, So we're if we do more, we would definitely. My wife said we can't do that again. I don't know if she knows. It was spread out over a few years, so it was kind of here and there. But
so, Josh, what you're really saying is that whether there's an episode 2 or not depends on your wife. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, that's most of the things in my life in the future. But yeah, we would love to crowdfund a second episode. We want to keep doing it just because we love doing it. I think disclaimer, we didn't really put one up front. Like nothing we do with this character is for profit. It's all just for Sleepwalker fans. And we hope, you guys enjoy it as much as we do. We'd love to do a second one if those rules apply to Kickstarter and whatnot. We're not sure, but use all the crowdfunded funds to go to the production and make it happen again. Do it better. Do it, bigger. Keep having
Cleaner.
fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. We got another one. And again, honestly, I mean, all the costs were out of pocket, but a ton of the actors, all the actors, I think for the most part, and the crew donated their time and equipment to make it happen. So that was a huge expense that we didn't incur for the first one, which was amazing. It was believable while being comic book-esque. So amazing. That's an awesome compliment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheldon was at our trailer at the Tampa Comic-Con back in 2016, maybe.
Jeez.
When we showed that first trailer, and he was all about it. We gave him some posters, and he's stuck with us ever since. It's so cool.
What are some other forgotten or lower tier Marvel heroes who could boop into the Sleepwalker show?
Oh, boop in.
Boop in. Okay. Spot. Darkhawk. Hypno Hustler. Let's see, who else did we talk about?
Sure, Bob's got some.
Yeah. We had like a list a long time ago too, where it was just all D-listers.
Josh, I already told you I aim high. I want Spider-Man to cross.
That's true. We're reaching out to Tom Holland right now.
Yeah, call him every day.
Check with Tom Holland's agent, see if he's available.
That's right. We got to do the crossover where Sleepwalker pretends to be Spider-Man. I love that. Yeah.
The story's already written.
Spider-Man's an alien. That was so good. We crossover, Darkhawk, Moon Knight, the kind of the typicals. I mean, you have Deathlock in the comics, Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Love to do a Ghost Rider.
Oh, I would love to do Ghost Rider too.
Had the Fantastic Four in it.
Sure.
Oh, the new stuff, yeah.
I'm saying about issue 15 or 16.
That's right, because you had the Thought Police.
Had the Thing and Mr. Fantastic were in it.
That's right. And they went in the Thought Police. They were doing some kind of mental excavation of
a lot of Marvel characters.
Yeah, there were. And then like episode or comic issue 2 or 3, like the whole Marvel universe was in it. In Rick's dream, they were all
Dream, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
We are in talks with most of the actors to get that scene done. Don't worry.
Yeah. We actually, we know who's playing Wolverine in the MCU. We're working closely with him. He's my neighbor. I don't know. I mean, but all those. I mean, I personally just love Darkhawk for some reason. As a kid, I think his helmet and everything. It's funny. I was going through my issues. I thought I had Darkhawk comics, but apparently I don't, or they're gone. But love to pop him up or do something there. But did Bob storyboard the film?
This is another question from Mark, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Mark is a professional storyboard artist, by the way.
Oh, nice.
In a lot of movies.
I'm an unprofessional storyboard artist.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, anyway, no, I had very little to do with anything that you saw in that movie that we just watched. I didn't storyboard anything. I just showed up for my 15 seconds of fame, and that was pretty much it. Except the near the end, you might have seen. Was it Rick who was holding up the illustration of Sleepwalker?
Yes.
Oh, I was the hands behind that illustration.
That's right.
Yep.
So,
yes, and behind this one on my wall right there. I don't know. Oh wait, I got this weird background thing. It doesn't work. Hang on.
So I drew that illustration that showed up in the movie.
That's right.
That was close as I got to storyboarding anything.
Yes, but someone asked Bob, you did drawings, so that's a good segue. Bob does amazing art.
Yes, again,
drawings.
my friend Bruce is asking that. So yes, I do drawings. Here, wait a second.
How do I turn off this background?
Just happened to be sitting next to my drawing table. So when I'm not doing my day job and when I'm not showing up in movies like this, so I'm doing commissions like this.
Oof.
This one's about
beautiful.
nothing. And this one is in the process of being completed.
Oh man, who was that? Was that
Ghost
Ghost?
Rider.
Oh, the second one was?
Both of them Ghost Rider.
Oh man, that's
yeah.
beautiful.
They're both recreations of covers, actually. So,
Yeah.
that's one. That's two. But I do occasional commissions. I do sell them. And, depends if I have time.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah, Bob, you inked some Sleepwalkers, or not inked, I'm sorry, drew some Sleepwalker stuff. Maybe an issue, or was it just more promotional stuff?
Last year, Marvel asked me to do a one-page Sleepwalker story,
Right.
a special edition of Marvel. And all the stories are one page. So I drew it, and I wrote it, and I inked it, so on. So
That's awesome. Yeah, Sleepwalkers, I mean, I wouldn't call it a renaissance, but he may be on the cusp of one. Maybe it is now. I don't know.
never know what's going to come next.
Yes. I did storyboard. I don't know if he cares, but I just, as a planner and fanatic, I storyboard all the shoots I work on. Like anything I direct, I have to storyboard it. So Stephanie said, Josh, don't sell yourself short. You storyboarded everything. You're great. So even if they're just little circles and rectangles, I need to know what's going on. So yeah, I love storyboarding. So Mark, I'd love to, I don't know, I'll have to dig out some of your storyboard stuff. Check it out. I'd love to see it.
Hunter and Josh and ask two pretty similar questions. How many future episodes do you have written? And congrats on getting it made. Thank you. And how long would a season be if you got to do one? And would you keep the episodes 30 minutes or go longer?
Or shorter.
Yeah, so we kind of answered earlier. We don't really have any full episodes written out, but like we said, we have an outline for a season, and we've started writing the second one. I don't know how long the season would be. It wouldn't be long,
I think what we have is probably 8-ish.
Yeah.
Episodes. Yeah, it feels like. We really wanted to bring in some of Sleepwalker's, big, hard-hitting villains, the ones that, the classics, Chain Gang, Bookworm. Oh, I don't know if hardcore Sleepy fans may have noticed, but, Spectra is in episode 1, Bookworm, maybe the Chain Gang in that bar, maybe not. So yeah, we definitely love Sleepwalker's pantheon of villains that Bob's created. So I mean, honestly, he's got his own like rogues gallery that holds up to me with, you know, the best up there, like Spider-Man's and whatnot. It's just a smaller.
That is, well, that is high praise. Thank you.
Maybe why it stuck with me so much. It was just fun to read every month. And that's kind of, that's another thing is we really wanted to recreate was that kind of, there's a through story for sure, but that weekly or episodic fun, you know, villain of the week type feel. Bob, what's your favorite event that Sleepwalker partakes in the entirety of the Sleepwalker, you know, I guess across every Sleepwalker facet, comics and more?
Wow, that's reaching back a few years. I wrote those comics like 30 years ago. But actually, I did reread some of them recently, and Josh and Joe touched on perhaps my favorite storyline, which was called Color Blindness, where Sleepwalker becomes addicted because he's from a different dimension and things work differently where he lives compared to where we live. He becomes addicted to a color. And so at the very end of this movie that Josh and Joe produced, you notice there's like a glowing stone full of colors that are lying on the floor of the laboratory that I forgot her name.
Spectra.
Well, she becomes Spectra. The woman,
Selena Slate.
Selena picks up or looking at. Anyway, when Sleepwalker is confronted with that glowing stone in the comic book, he becomes addicted to the color, and it leads to a whole series of misadventures, I would call them. Sleepwalker kind of descends into madness as a result of his addiction.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the way that storyline worked out, and it brought in a lot of other characters, including Spectra, who is that Selena character that we saw briefly in the movie at the end. So we saw her a couple of times, I guess. Yeah. So that's one moment that stands out for me anyway.
I love that. So I tell Joe, I was like, there's 3 moments or stories that I would love to get to and put on screen, which is one is Spectra and Sleepwalker's, you know, spoiler alert, future relationship, whatever it may be. The invasion and then the Rick Sleepwalker mishap when they're trying to learn
the nightmare
when Rick's trying to figure out how to let Sleepwalker out without going to sleep, and it doesn't go so well. I don't want to spoil it, but they merge and they're
another moment, which my dog is right here reminding me of. There was an issue around issue 7 or 8 where Rick has a dog in the comic book named Rambo. And there's a moment when Sleepwalker's on Earth and Rick is incapacitated somehow. And the splash page, the first page of the comic, is Sleepwalker has to walk Rambo through the streets of Brooklyn.
Yes.
So I hope you can recreate that someday. And I have to deal with my dog, excuse me. He's asking me to go outside.
It is a great shot too, because Sleepwalker's it's like a low angle. I know exactly what you're talking about. And Sleepwalker's
he's
hovering above the ground, but still
dog
walking.
Is right in the bottom front.
Dog walker. I think that maybe there's a new.
That could be his sidekick, dog walker.
Someone had a good question here. Let's see. Josh Martin, who actually helped on the film. Is there an MCU Easter egg buried so deep in that in the show that only you guys know about? There's a few. Let's see.
There's a few.
I'll drop a couple real quick that may or may not be MCU Easter eggs, but there are some Sleepy fan Easter eggs. And when Rick is looking at his laptop at the very end, we kind of created a fake Facebook for him to scroll through, and a lot of the icons are comic book characters iconified, if that's a word, into from the early 90s. Like you got Moon Knight, Darkhawk, Slapstick, Night Thrasher, and a few others. But and then some of his friends on his friends list, if you look at the names real closely or the pictures, are like old school Sleepwalker fans that we've gotten in touch with from their Facebook pics. And then his friends list is alter egos of other forgotten 90s characters like Super Pro, Night Watch, and all, just a ton of them. So yeah, that's mine. It's small, but it's in there.
I mean, are more like most of ours are the more obvious ones. Like there is backstory to a lot of it that we kind of have written out, but that's not really on display in the movie. Like
Yeah.
we know where the vibranium came from and like stuff like that,
Right.
but you know, that's stuff for later episodes. And of course, you know, we have little references like a little lava monster from Latveria, and there's a joke in it in the beginning about pufferfish from planet Pluto, which is actually more of a reference to like an idea that we were talking about making a cheesy, dumb monster movie for a little bit down here called that.
Yeah.
It's not really an
Yeah.
MCU reference,
It's
but
a Tampa film
yeah,
reference.
the
Yeah.
Tampa film reference.
Yeah. Christian,
Um, yeah,
like you were saying, the vibranium and the little, you can kind of hear Iron Man's, maybe not kind of, maybe very obvious, Iron Man's what
oh
do you
yeah,
call
the
them?
repulsor
Yeah,
array.
repulsor
Yeah,
array. That when 8-Ball fires up a stick, the idea behind all that was that the labs he's working for is kind of maybe a knockoff or a hidden subsidiary of Hammer Industries, who was stealing um, Stark tech, you know, so it's kind of just getting passed down, and all this tech is getting kind of scattered out around New York, and so that's where that came from.
and obviously there. If you look in the background of one scene, you can see Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur walking down the street.
That just happened to happen. They happened
That
to be
just
there.
they weren't even supposed to be in it. Just,
we're like, oh my god, and they signed a release, and isn't it Moon Girl?
That's the new one. I was going.
Oh, it was Moon Boy old school. See,
yeah,
it shows my limited knowledge sometimes. Love the Bumblebee, Rick Sharon, and Bob Budiansky crossover. The Budiansky character worlds collide with their maker. Smart writing, guys. Oh, thank you, sir. That's Colin. What happened to the girl at the end? Well, you'll just have to wait and see, Stephanie.
Talk about some hidden or unforeseen challenges you face that we wouldn't normally consider. There's like a million of those when it comes to production. That's honestly the great act of filmmaking, is that it's plate spinning, and like every day there's 1,000 new challenges that you just have to face as they're coming at you.
Yeah, creative differences.
Creative differences.
A real thing.
He really is. One day we had a generator catch on fire.
Yeah,
it was fun and scary.
Yeah, I think that same night, it was definitely the same scene. Maybe the big action fight scene was it was supposed to be one night, which we were obviously very naive, and it turned into 4. And one night the generator caught on fire. It may have been the same night. One of our key lights, big lights, just died. Scott Sullivan has PTSD from it, I think. So we like, our scene was super dark, and we couldn't get the light we wanted to really, the DP was wanted to make it look really sharp. And, a lot of people say, well, it looks fine and great in the end, so it's fine. And it does. We're perfectly happy with it. But that was a struggle. We thought it was gonna be too dark to even see this shot, to see the pictures, and cranking up, doing a lot of fixing in post and things like that. So.
And then you have little things that go the opposite way. Like occasionally we'll do shots or sequences that we don't think will work as well as they do, and then they exceed what we thought
that worked. Yeah,
like really well. Yeah,
for sure. Oops, did I just?
No, you're fine.
Okay. If you could do one more with a decent budget, which story would it be? I'll answer that quickly, and maybe we all can answer that. It'd be, I want to say Darkhawk, but I don't even know the story. I just want to do like a trailer for Darkhawk. Just watch its armor come on.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff?
I would love to do the invasion of the Sleepwalkers.
I thought they meant like a different character. But, a story from Sleepwalker. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay. Go ahead.
It's a shame because he doesn't have a lot of screen time in this episode, but we have written so much about Sleepwalker and how he works in this world, and I can't wait for him to do more and talk more, and basically how we've written him and how we have him in this world. That invasion arc will be so much fun to do,
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I want to see Cobweb in there too. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I think mine would be. Well, that's more of a moment, the Spectre and Sleepwalker kind of moment. But the invasion probably would be fun. I also want to see him warp beam Alyssa into spaghetti and give everyone nightmares for a little, because it gave me nightmares as a kid. I'm like, what just happened?
Oh, well, you should preface. You should explain that.
No.
Just leave that out there.
Yeah.
It happens.
It gets better.
It happens in the comic book, but it's not what you think it is.
Right.
He doesn't really do it.
It's a dream. Yeah, Rick's having a nightmare. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very disturbing still. Yeah, it's great.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It worked. It did what it was supposed to do, I think. Yeah, very, very disturbing. And, I think it shows what, too, like, Sleepwalker, how, because he actually does that to Deathlock's metal arm at one point, thinking that Deathlock's a robot or something. And he's kind of very distraught once he realizes Deathlock is a real person. So then later when, you think Alyssa, that happens, it's disturbing for everyone. What villains are coming? We definitely want to do Chain Gang, Bookworm, Spectra, all the classics, Psycho, Cobweb. Any scene you took out and replaced it?
Not really.
No, everything was
should.
I think he maybe you saw some stuff in the trailer that's not in there because we shot certain shots for a trailer that we did, and they weren't specifically part of the episode. That's it. Bob, is the penance stare effective against Sleepwalker or Transformers?
Well, I'm not going to touch on the Transformers. We're not here to talk about Transformers. But as far as Sleepwalker goes, it's my understanding. I used to draw Ghost Rider and co-plot some of the stories. My understanding of penance stare is to I don't know. I never could quite put it into words, but you have to be guilty of something in order to do penance. Mm-hmm. So if Sleepwalker is this honorable being, I don't think using the penance stare against him would really achieve very much, because Sleepwalker wouldn't be torn by his guilty conscience like the penance stare is supposed to. That's supposedly how the penance stare is supposed to work. It's supposed to tear up a person who's done some evil deeds because it makes them realize how evil they are, or something like that. I don't know.
Yes,
relive your. It would be a good candidate for using the penance stare against.
Yeah, I agree. He's very noble. We still have questions, and I know we had said an hour, Bob, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I can keep going if
I'm here all night.
Oh,
cool.
Awesome. All right, so talk some hidden. Oh no, we got that one done. Would you consider Sleepwalker merch like hoodies, t-shirts, or did I miss it? I mean, we have. Well, here you go. Hang on. A friend of ours designed this, which is like this little. I don't know, what do you call this style, Joe? Chibi.
Yeah.
Chibi art, Sleepy, and it was more just for the crew and friends. But it's out there. You can buy it for the cost it takes to make.
Sticker.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got this. Let's see. We had a friend, or this amazing guy, talented online, made Sleepwalker toys based on the designs in our film, which is very similar to the comics, obviously, except for he made an 8-ball too from the movie. But yeah, I mean, we can't sell merch and profit off of it. We don't want to, and I don't think we legally can. So, there's stuff out there that you can buy for the cost it costs to make. And there's like pillows, and there's this Teespring site with socks and pillows and all this stuff. We can definitely.
I got this really beautiful
Sleepwalker
as a gift.
Whoa.
Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
Yeah, great job.
It's amazing.
Thank you, Mr. Donahue.
Yeah, Chip Donahue. He's the.
Yeah.
He got it for me. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So.
Yeah, actually, Chip got me. I should have said he sent me this Sleepwalker toy that was made by Ide Bolden. So Chip is just like Sleepwalker fan number one. If you guys are Sleepwalker fans now after this, check out PJs with Sleepy on Instagram. Twitter, but I think it's mostly on Instagram. He's posting Sleepwalker stuff every day and finds just amazing Sleepwalker art.
He's just so into it too.
Yeah, it's cool. And so he sent that toy, and then I had to get eyed to make an 8-ball after having Sleepwalker. I said I gotta have the pair. But yeah, no merch until it's officially Marvel, really. But maybe when we do the Kickstarter, I don't know what the rules are. We have a ton of posters, I should say. Hang on one second. Oh, the official Sleepwalker poster from the movie, but and Bob was kind enough to sign them for us. So, I don't know if we're even allowed to, but hopefully we can give some of this stuff out for anyone who wants to help with the production of episode 2. So there's stuff, and definitely I'll give you one, Blue. If I see you, a poster's yours. We gave a bunch of them out at the premieres that we had over the last 2 weeks. People really loved it. So, could Sleepwalker lift yield Thor's hammer? Bob.
With the permission of the editor of the Thor comic book, he probably could.
Right. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Alongside that, what side would Sleepwalker have been on in Civil War?
Ooh, man, that would have been nice.
I'm not the person to answer that. I never read the comic books, so I don't know what side he'd fall on. Or he might just be a neutral observer. Who knows?
I always thought we actually talked about this. Sorry, Joe. We thought it would be super cool to have Rick on one side and Sleepwalker on the other, and that would have been a really nice little comic line for him. An extra layer of tension there. So I don't know which one would be which, but I mean, they found really clever ways in that storyline of putting people on the side you wouldn't expect.
So he was in Civil War. I thought so.
The original, like back in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Wow.
He registered, so he was on Iron Man's side.
But is it just like one panel of him signing up or something?
Yeah.
That's cool. What does Sleepwalker's signature look like? But yeah, I always thought that was cool. We talked about that actually.
Yeah.
What are some of the local businesses? Good question. Stephanie, always the producer. She's awesome. She's made a lot of her own movies. She gets it done. She's made features here in Tampa, and So some of the local businesses: Black Crow Coffee, awesome place in St. Pete. Hopefully they're still around. I think they have 2 locations now. Awesome, locally owned, delicious, cool spot. We actually shot there. The cafe that Rick and Alyssa are meeting in, that's Black Crow. Joe, you got any off the top of your head while I think? I mean, the guy, so many.
Cineview Studios.
Scott, was part of Cineview Studios.
Scott Darren Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Good Enough Films, Josh Martin. He was our second DP.
With the production, I always forget their name, Production Services and Systems in Tampa. They have all like the grip equipment and camp, like anything you could need to make a movie. They have it in their trucks, and they gave us really good deals on things. Motorcycle gear. They helped hook me up with 8-balls costume at a really good price. There's a lot. There's a lot. I haven't thought about it. Put me on the spot. We should make a list.
The city of St. Petersburg and the Film Commission for letting us to rent out the street, shoot the action sequence.
Yes. Film Tampa Bay, Tyler Martinovich, the Film Tampa Bay commissioner. He's been really helpful. Lots. We'll make a list because that's a good point. We should make a video about all the people who helped. Yeah.
And then, of course, Tampa Bay Underground Film Festival for allowing us to premiere there. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trying to think of those places we shot in the film, but Lightwave Studios. Christian, we shot the lab scene there. We built the lab in his studio, and he's actually the actor, the Mr. Ulm, the douchey boss. Yeah.
Upper level management.
Yeah. Unnamed, but to us, he's Mr. Ulm, upper level manager, who's threatening to fire everyone if they don't do something better. Who was really fun to watch. Some amazing artists worked on Sleepwalker: Brett Blevins, Rick Lombardi, Joe Phillips, Bruce Zick, Terry Schumacher, and Kelly Krantz. Would be great to see more nods to their work, like the reference to the 8-ball cover from issue number 2. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yep. Yeah, we actually recreated that cover too with our costumes and stuff in a car instead of a phone booth, since phone booths don't exist anymore. But yeah, we agree. We'd love to do more.
And thank you, Blue. I can't wait for you to see it too. I don't keep meaning to rhyme your name. It's completely unintentional.
Bob, do you think we got Sleepwalker's voice correct?
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a very clear idea of what he would sound like in my head, when I was writing him. I wasn't thinking along those lines so much, but he sounded like he had that kind of otherworldly, not too emotional voice, which I was hearing in my, I was kind of associating with that character when I was writing him. Pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. We were thinking like maybe a Gilbert Godfrey voice at first, and then
That might be pushing it. That would be a good voice for Cobweb.
for who? Oh yes.
Oh, that would be.
Just verse available for Cobweb.
We'll have to brainstorm. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Or Bobcat Goldswing. Yeah.
That one too. Yeah.
Why the modern setting and not in the 90s?
Period pieces are just hard. I mean, that's the big part of it. And, you just want to make it modern for a modern audience.
Yeah. Period pieces, we would have definitely had to start everything changes, for the most part. And we wanted it to be in the MCU, that was part of it. It's not overt, but there's little things here that say this may or may not be happening at the same time. The Avengers are about fighting whoever. So yeah, that's why. 8-year-old has a great question. You went through a few costume adaptations. She wants to know how you made it look so realistic. I assume the Sleepwalker costume. Man, that's all my friend Lindsay. She was just amazing. It was that was the moment where we realized we're going to keep going because. And she was in Chicago. It was crazy because we were like, hey, we have this idea. She's an interior designer, but I know she had done fashion stuff in the past. I didn't know who else to call. So I said, hey, Lindsay, we've got this idea. Here's the character. What do you think about making this costume? And she was just all about it. I think she was just looking for something different to do. And she was excited by it, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And she just went to work and she would, I gave her measurements for our actor and she would send me random pictures of fabric draped over, random things. And I was like, hey, you know what you're doing? Just do what you got to do. And this is what it should look like, or what we hope it looks like.
And that day we first did that costume test, like you said, was that moment of us being like, oh, okay, like this is a real thing now. Like,
she flew down from Chicago and said, hey, I've got some pieces of the costume to try on. I'd love to do a fitting before I keep going. And I think she was kind of pulling our chain a little bit because she made it sound like she didn't have a lot. And then when we got there to the studio, again at Lightwave, she was pulling out pieces out of a box of fabric, putting them on. And then by the end of it, we had the whole Sleepwalker costume put together. And we have some of those behind the scenes photos up somewhere on the Facebook page, but it just looked amazing. It looked amazing. And me and Joe kind of just looked at each other and giggled. Like, we're like, this looks awesome. I think we can do this. Because that was the make or break point. It was like, if this looks silly, like, what's the point of keeping going? So, yeah.
Oh, and Jesse brings up a good thing. We also have the flaming fruit sauce in the apartment scene. Alyssa's eating chips with it.
Local business. Thank you.
Local business, yeah.
Bob's niece, Jessie Budiansky, lives in Tampa, of all places, and owns a fruit sauce, a hot sauce company called Jessie's Flaming Fruit Sauce. And she sells it at like Tijuana Flats and stores all over the place in Tampa. So go find some Jessie's Flaming Fruit Sauce. It's in the movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Product placement.
Yes, product placement.
How much did she pay you to have that product placed?
She paid me a couple $100 because I would have had to get a hotel for you when you came down, but you stayed with her, so she saved me. She saved me some money for sure. Yeah, and I'm sure there's others. I wish I could remember off the top of my head, but yeah, that's awesome. Glad you remember that. Just love everyone's dedication. Thank you. Can't wait for Spectra. Me too.
Yeah, same here.
Is Cobweb created from a thwop of Spidey's web slinging? That sounds like a question for Bob.
The secret origin of Cobweb never revealed. It's a good idea, but I didn't come up with him connecting him to Spider-Man's leftover web tool. Cobweb is just this creature that lives in the same dreamscape, mindscape that Sleepwalker inhabits when he's not on our planet, in our reality. He's not in our reality. He's back there in the mindscape, and Cobweb is one of the kind of malicious entities that he has to protect us against.
Yes, yeah. And if the mindscape is a place created by and from the thoughts of all sentient beings, then maybe someone was thinking about a web that they saw.
There's a lot of ways to play Cobweb origin. I think you're onto something. Maybe our collective thoughts, they're not always noble. Maybe there's thoughts out there that are of a more insidious nature.
Yes,
got together and formed Cobweb.
Absolutely.
I'll have to write that into my next issue that I
There you go. In the film, when Tom Holland signs up and you get all
right after Spider-Man.
If Tom Holland signs up, he could be a piece of Spider-Man's webbing.
There you go.
I would adapt the origin to Tom Holland.
There we go.
Right. That's in Tom Holland's contract.
That might be an inducement. Who knows?
Yeah, you know what? Never mind. I remember that night when the light died. Yes, we all do vividly. It was sad. How will you guys share information about upcoming news and releases? Facebook? Yeah, I'm not. I don't know about Joe, but we're not the greatest internet.
No, not really.
Or so it's mostly on Facebook. Yeah, and hopefully on YouTube now that the episode's out there. Maybe more people will be on YouTube. We don't have constant content that we're putting out, but
we also have Twitter, but it's pretty
quiet
and quiet. Yeah, but we'll pop and say stuff on there every once in a while.
Instagram as well. It's Facebook. Everything goes on Facebook pretty much, and then a lot of stuff goes on Instagram, and Twitter gets remembered every now and then. But that's actually how I met Bob, which was one of the coolest days of my life. We did the 3D model of Sleepwalker's head, and I tweeted it to Bob because I was like, oh, he's on Twitter. I'll just send it, see what he thinks, see if by chance he sees it. And then I don't remember if it was the same day or maybe a couple of days later, Bob responded and said, because I had sent the model and said, what do you think about our Sleepwalker 3D model? And he said, it looks good, but I think you could make the eyes bigger. And I said, that's very true, because they were very human-sized. And from there, it's kind of where everything really kind of started snowballing. So I responded, and then he responded, and it was just awesome. That's how we started chatting. And then you told me you were going to be in Baltimore, and I said, Joe, suit up.
We're going to Baltimore.
Put on the suit.
And you drove there nonstop, as I recall, right?
We did, yeah.
You stay overnight anyway? You just drove straight up?
Nope, yep. We stayed in Baltimore. Yeah.
And drove straight back down a day later.
Yeah, we did get to make a little stop in DC, which was my first time there.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was really fun. We had Sleepwalker shirts on, and we went all around to the monuments taking pictures. So Sleepwalkers, hang out with Lincoln and classics.
I guess you were scouting future locations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, that was before Spider-Man Homecoming came out. They probably saw us there. And
stole your thunder.
That is a thing we are actually sure of. There are so many ideas that we wrote down that ended up being in other Marvel movies.
Yeah, they're watching us. Yeah, even lines in the show is like they say in like a movie, and we're like, no, no. And then the day we announced that we're releasing this episode online, the next day Disney says, "Oh, by the way, there's 30 more Marvel movies coming. Don't worry, shows, movies."
Enjoy that. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
squashed our buzz. No, joking, but yeah, it's cool. We're in sync. I like to think of it that way.
Same. Great minds.
Anonymous attendee. Hi guys, I came in a bit late, but I do work for Marvel. If you could please stop doing everything that you. No, I'm just kidding. I came in a bit late, so I don't know if this has been asked of Bob yet, but when I read through the Sleepwalker run and reached your last message about how we all have to wake up sometime in issue number 33, it legitimately made me sad. Haha. How does it feel that people like the Sleepwalker film crew and PJs with Sleepy keep the dream alive, so to speak?
Oh, I feel great. I think when I was writing Sleepwalker, it was a monthly job. I had to put out a new story every month. So it was a job. It was a commercial job, meaning I was getting paid for my work. I knew up front, and it was going to be in a comic book, and that was the end of it. And so to imagine that your work is going to live beyond the time period it was meant for is something that I think a lot of creative people would like to imagine, that it has a life beyond its planned existence. Comic books are relatively I don't know what's the right word, transitory. It's just temporary. You read one, next month another one comes out, another one, and the comic book collector might put it in a box and store it in a nice plastic bag and keep it so they could read it again in years to come. But generally, most comic books, their lifetime is very limited. So just to see Sleepwalker, 30 years later, and in this venue as a short film, it's just wonderful. It's a great feeling to know that my work, I'm sure William Shakespeare would feel the same way. If he looked ahead 500 years from when he wrote those, 400 years from when he wrote those plays, and see that they're still being performed and studied, he probably wasn't planning that when he first wrote the plays back in the late 1500s, early 1600s. So I'm getting a phone call from my son. I don't know why he's calling me. He's upstairs. Okay, go ahead. I'll ignore him. So anyway, yeah, it's a good feeling. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. I think that's it, unless anyone has any other questions. Josh, you're muted.
True. No, I was basically saying the same thing. Yeah, it looks like no more questions out there. I just want to say kind of an unfortunate year for everyone. And we obviously never the way we planned to release Sleepwalker, but I feel like, it's been just as exciting and fun as it could have been, I think. So I just thanks Bob and Joe and every crew and cast for making this happen.
And conversely, thank you, Joe, Josh. Thanks to the crew. Thank you to the crew, and particularly Chris and Lexi for doing a wonderful job, stepping up, being the lead actors, and everybody else who was in the movie. But you guys did a wonderful job. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe, good.
Yeah. There's been a lot of turmoil in just this year, and for me personally, there's been a lot going on in the years prior to this, and throughout all of this, Sleepwalker has been this nice thing to escape into, that we can constantly working on something that we could actually work towards making great. And I've said this at every premiere, and I've said this at to everyone, because they always ask how do we feel, and it's just I just feel so good that people can see it. I feel so proud of what we've done and of our crew, and just the fact that it's an actual thing people can watch now. It's not just something Josh and I work on and edit and talk about and hope about. It's an actual real tangible thing, and that it means a lot. It's amazing, you know? I don't know. I'm rambling.
No, I'm tearing up a little. No, I'm serious. Like, no, that's awesome. You put it way more eloquently than me, and I agree. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been super fun, and I know it feels like we've had a lot of fun working on it and stuff. And sometimes it was like there were times where we thought, you think, should we just stop? Is it too much? Like, can we do this? I'm so glad we pushed all the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, again, and thank you everyone who's here watching. I know everyone who's watched it will watch it. Like, yeah, it's all for you. Like, Sleepwalker fans, new and old.
Yeah. That's what I hope. I hope we can find as many Sleepwalker fans as we can, because I know the ones we've found, it's just been such a cool community. Like, that's one of the coolest things about this is finding all these old Sleepwalker fans, and like this thing that I thought was just me, that loved this character. And it's just been awesome. We got to reinvigorate the Sleepy fan club, Kojo.
Yeah. Maybe we'll make a newsletter. We'll make a new one.
I mean, that was a blast reading those in the back of the pages too, because the fans would ask these really, it was very Sleepwalker specific questions, and whoever was answering those was just a blast most of the time. It's fun. Very clever stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Yeah. Feels weird.
Yeah. No, thanks, Bob. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me here. I'm happy to have participated. And thanks for everybody who showed up to ask questions and listen.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great questions. Well, we will be on Facebook. We're easy to get a hold of if anybody wants to chat or ask any more questions. Be on the lookout. We're gonna do a Kickstarter, so if you want to see an episode 2, be on the lookout for that. We'll probably launch it pretty soon, along with a link to the episode and some other behind the scenes videos. So we got so much behind the scenes stuff from the episode. We've done interviews with Bob in the past that we'll share, so with his permission, of course. So, all right, I guess that's it, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Sweet dreams.
Yeah.
Dream on.
Dream on. How do I end this? This is the awkward. Oh, there it is. It's behind my phone. See ya.
All right. So long, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Good seeing you.
Good seeing you.